Um, the very first story this week, Jay, is the fact that now we're looking at the types of gun control legislation and
Yes.
laws we haven't seen in quite some time. Probably more infringing, more obtuse, more uh, intrusive, I should say, or
Mhm.
infringing, I should say. I don't even know what the right word is at this point, Jay, because it just seems like it's just overbearing. And at this point, the GOP is willingly playing along with it.
Yeah.
And for what reason? They have basically
Optics.
in the fallout of the Uvalde massacre in Texas, where obviously an immense tragedy.
Yeah.
We've talked about it at length on this show. And one of the things that we've seen is a number of GOP senators who, by the way, are not up for reelection in 2022 or are retiring, are joining with the Democrats on this now bipartisan gun legislation, which highlights, amongst many provisions, these red flag laws. Now, Jay, um, for you, who is a commie who lives in California, why do you support this bill?
Well, first of all, because of the bullying that I'm experiencing right now over here, I will make sure that I can call the government and tell them that Siraj Hashmi is a bully and should be on a red flag. That's what needs to
Well,
happen.
if you're going with the Scott Adams approach, then you could literally kill me.
Absolutely. I mean, that tweet was absolutely fucking insane. We listed it last night where Scott Adams was talking about, you know, he took it a step too far too, where he was like, "We should legalize killing your bully, not being literal, just a thought experiment."
And
And
he was saying he's like, this is just a thought experiment, not a recommendation. Like, okay, Scott.
yeah, right. we, you're not being fucking insane. But back to here, like these red flag laws need to be worked out extremely fucking hard because if you give anything to the government where they can list shit, where they can put people on no fly zones and listing people and doing all of these different fucking things, they're not going to give that power away. They
Right.
won't give it back. That's not how this works. They'll take it, they'll run with it, and they'll run a mile with it. And
Right.
they'll infringe all up in your ass.
And honestly, that's the worst type of infringing is infringing on specifically your ass. A government infringing on your ass. The only thing that should be infringing on your ass is Jay's tongue, and the ass that it's infringing on is obviously your mom's.
Absolutely.
But considering that these red flag laws, I mean, they're being very open about it, Jay. It's not even like they're
Mm-hmm.
hiding it. Um, so the Washington Post did an explainer about like what is a red flag law, and the way that they explain it says red flag laws allow police, family members, or even doctors to petition a court to take away someone's firearms for up to a year if they feel that person is a threat to themselves or others. 19 states in the District of Columbia, including 2 Republican-controlled states, Florida and Indiana, have some form of this law on the books. I was actually very surprised to hear about this one, that it's actually exists in Florida, considering that I'm now a Florida man.
Right.
But obviously, this is one of those things where I don't care who you are. Red flag laws sets a precedent to circumvent due process and take your own property away from you without being convicted of a crime. Am I getting that right? Where's our resident attorneys in the chat?
Yeah,
I know that
Damien.
I know that Leb Damien probably has something to say about it.
Absolutely. You know he would. Especially
Yeah,
if we're talking about law. I mean, he just has to put the mayo down just long enough to
yeah,
actually comment on it. But I think I honestly do think that you're right, and we see these type of laws affecting people's lives in the worst type of way, like what is it, Title 45 in colleges and stuff, or is it what's the title? I forget what the title is.
Title 9.
No, not Title 9. Hold on,
What are you talking about?
it's in college.
It's usually called Title 9.
Is it Title IX?
It might be. Might be.
I'm not sure because it's the one that where Title IX. Sorry, the sex discrimination whatever
Jesus
act.
Christ, Jay.
I apologize. I don't know. I don't know my ass from my dick sometimes.
This is true. Damien Toll says, my legal opinion is that I think all of you should be red flagged. Very Islamophobic of you and very liberal of you.
Very white of him too. Very
President
white.
Mitch, actually, it should be called Title 69. He's
because that's nice. That's a very nice title. But I mean, this accusation that is thrown onto these people is taken seriously, and then their life is absolutely fucking ruined. They have to go through courts, and not just normal courts. They go through the court, to try and clear their name from false accusations. And it's not even through legal courts. It's through the courts, through the fucking universities and shit. It's all what's the term you Americans use? Is it like kangaroo court? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, I
is that right? Is that the saying? Kangaroo king.
It sounds like an Aussie saying, honestly.
So it's not a kangaroo court. What's the saying?
I believe it's kangaroo. I think it's kangaroo.
Kangaroo. Okay, I think it's kangaroo court. So we're going to start seeing a lot of that kind of stuff prop up with these
chamber.
With these red flag laws. So, for instance, I will say that you're a bully and also you're mentally unwell, which is both true, and you're a danger to yourself. So they will put you on a red flag for a whole year and ban you from purchasing any firearms, from purchasing any property, from using the property you have, and you have to go and jump through hoops to clear your name. I don't have to prove or provide any evidence. I have to just say, this is what happened. Screenshot some of your fucking texts where you tell me to go kill myself, and then send it to the courts.
Wait, I never told you to go kill yourself, Jay.
Yes, you did.
At least not yet.
No, you did. You have.
Okay, then maybe times. I did.
Multiple.
I only told you to kill yourself with my penis in your face. Anyways, here are the 10 Republican senators who are now backing on this.
Backing on or backing out?
Backing up. How is it? How's it said, Jay? Is it they're backing? They're backing it.
They're backing it. Well, I know John Cornyn had he changed his tune a little bit.
You think he changed his tune? All right. Well, this article is like 2 days old. So, but initially, Texas Senator John Cornyn, obviously he has an A+ rating from the NRA back in this particular bill. We got Senator Thom Tillis from North Carolina. Senator Roy Blunt, who he's retiring for one, to just smoke endless amounts of weed. Senator Rob Portman, who I think was reelected not too long ago. I think in 2018, it's 6-year terms. Senator Richard Burr, who's retiring at the end of this term. Mitt Romney, who we're not surprised about. Giant lib.
Not fucking surprised whatsoever.
Bill Cassidy, another big lib. Susan Collins from Maine, who we're not surprised about. Lindsey Graham's a surprising one. Lindsey Graham. But again, we shouldn't be surprised. He's a neocon lib. Who else we were really going to think of? Pat Toomey from Pennsylvania. Another lib there. And the big one too.
Mm-hmm. No, and I think there's going to be a few of these guys who are going to back out. I really do. I think there's going to be a few of them that are going to back out. They're going to
not the ones retiring. The ones who are retiring. The ones who are retiring do not give a shit.
They don't care. Mitt Romney, of course, he's a fucking rhino. He's not going to care. He's going to really go in on it as well. But there are certain things that we do need to hit on as a society. There are a few things that I think we can do better on when it comes to these issues. One thing is young men's mental health. We do not, in this country, put any emphasis or any care on these issues whatsoever. We brush them off, we mock it, and we do not include it in this inclusive society to actually see it as something that we could help, that we could do better on. And I don't, and that's one aspect I think we should work on harder. Now, does that mean that people need to be put on red flag laws or red flag scenarios or whatever? No, it just means that we need to be more aware of the signs that we see from these people, because the FBI saw the signs on this guy, the police saw the signs on this guy, the school, his high school saw the signs on this guy, his parents saw the signs on this guy. Like, all of these things saw the signs of this. And instead of reaching out a hand saying, hey, buddy, do you need to talk? Hey, let's go over this. Hey, if you feel this way, I think it's good to share or come out or whatever and talk about it. We don't do that. We shut it out. We call them names. We call them sissies. We call them whatever, or we go over and into the other way and we call them racists and we call them Nazis, and we just dismiss it altogether. All of it. So this red flag laws type of stuff is a very lazy way to tackle the main issue that's at hand.
So, all right. So, oh God, what are you doing, Spencer? No, go back to that. Let's read it. Let's read it for the people who are, say, listening to this after the fact. Spencer literally pulls up a tweet from the beginning of 2021 in January when they announced that new Jets head coach Robert Saleh is now the first Muslim American head coach in NFL history, in which I then quote tweeted saying, "Muslims and planes unite once again in New York." So
that's a red flag tweet right there. I mean, when we are implementing these red flags, when you see tweets like this, fucking red flag it. Red flag the shit out of it.
So that being said, are red flag laws constitutional? Ultimately, they're not. And this is something that will probably get passed and signed into law and then get challenged in the courts and then get struck down by the Supreme Court, because again, they have basically already ruled on something like this. I think it was I want to say 2021, specifically on the issue of due process, and it was a unanimous ruling. It was a 9-0 unanimous ruling, striking down basically the seizure of property without due process. That
the
is
Republican-packed courts. God damn it.
Republican-packed court. It is one of those things.
If was alive during that time, she would be the one.
It was one of those things where you look at it and you think to yourself, they're literally going to try to ram this through, and they do not give a shit who is impacted by this, specifically the law-abiding gun owners. Mind you, it's quite a slap in the face to anyone who has ever advocated for the Second Amendment to basically get into office, and as soon as they get there, they just like turn around and stab them in the back.
Oh yeah.
One thing that's just so weird is that John Cornyn is basically an older Beto O'Rourke. Is he not?
John Cornyn? I mean,
John Cornyn.
I don't know if he's like really like to that extent of a Beto. Excuse me.
I mean, he's not as soy.
I think he is. He wants to be. He's a right. He's like slowly, almost
He's
like
definitely a rhino.
To the extent of like a Mitt Romney and stuff. But he backtracks from being all the way up there from time to time. So I think he's more of a rhino, and I think he's not really the level of Beto. And I think a lot of these people who are jumping onto these discussions are doing so mainly to look good in the media type thing, because now they can have the backing thing saying, like, when people are saying you're doing nothing, you are okay with kids being killed, they're like, no, we're actually, at the table and stuff.
Yeah.
That's why, like, I do not think any of this stuff is really going to go through, and especially because there's a lot of issues with it, and anything that is just going to coat the stuff over, like putting people on red flags type of shit, it's not going to work. I don't think it's going to work. I think people are going to abuse it. And like, where do you ever, when have we ever heard of the American government abusing its power on its citizens?
I've never heard of such a thing, Jay. That's completely, that's impossible. Okay.
Impossible. I can trust them wholeheartedly with my tax dollars and my freedoms. Yes, sir. Fuck you.
So here's the thing. They're going to, this is how it's going to go down. They are going to, this is not going to go there. All right. There are mainly two ways this could possibly go down, Jay. One is if they are going to enforce this law, say, seeing as how it probably will pass, and it gets implemented, assuming that like the Supreme Court doesn't strike it down. If they implement such a law, there's either two ways they could go about it. One, they go after law-abiding gun owners and specifically find any which way they could possibly take their guns away, even if it's based on a flimsy accusation. And don't get me wrong, they're going to be legitimate, like they're going to be people who legitimately have like done some shit. They have a rap sheet, they've been convicted, or they're in the process of going through a criminal proceedings. But there are also going to be tons of people who are going to fly under the radar. They will be in possession of an illegal firearm. They'll never face any legal proceedings or criminal proceedings out of it. And they're going to continue possibly killing people indiscriminately, whether it be because of drug or human trafficking, because of gang violence, random violence, you name it. And that, or let's be honest, there are going to be tons of people who will probably use that gun on themselves, because at least a third of all gun deaths are from suicide.
Right. I mean, when you really account for like you're saying with suicide with gun deaths, I mean, it skyrockets, rockets, and it really distorts this gun violence narrative. When it's like people died who are killed by the gun, a lot of that is, like you were saying, suicide, and that does skew the numbers. And
it does.
I think I could be wrong. We're going to have to probably Google this, but I think we're actually at a lower suicide rate per capita than Japan. And Japan bans guns.
Than Japan. That'd be interesting. I hope Spencer can fact check us on this, because I have no idea. I can't. I just don't know. That is also a tall task to ask Spencer. And if he fails, obviously he's going to be fired.
Always. And what's it called? Adam Ingrid from Rumble, he says 100% of suicides end in death. That is absolutely correct.
That's the only time I'll laugh at something like that.
Oh man, it's really sad. So between the ages of 15 and 34, we are ranked higher. But as you go older, look at the skew on here. Between Japan and the United States. So from 35 to 75, Japan absolutely fucking takes it. But look at 15 to 34. That's the most sad. That is really sad. That's the sad part. 15 to 34, and it goes again to the point that I was saying. And 99% of this is men. Are men. So 15 to 30. That's young. That's young men. That is young men taking their lives, and we are doing nothing about it. We're doing nothing about it. We're sugarcoating it. We are trying to do something lazy about it by doing red flag laws and shit. But as you can see on the other per capita stuff, they have strict gun laws. They have very strict gun laws, and you still see the suicide rate of the adult men.
Did that stat sheet, did it sort of show, did it indicate whether all those suicides were from guns?
No, it didn't. But Japan has a higher suicide rate on 35 and above, and they have no gun laws. They have, I mean, they have strict gun laws.
Got it.
That's where you see it here. So from
regardless of whether,
above.
yeah. Well, obviously there's more than one way to try to kill yourself, but seeing as how that's obviously a very dark topic, we don't want to really delve into even further. We'll wait and see what happens, because
suicide. I never heard of her.
Suicide. Let's go. No, it's for one, I feel like in every single time the issue of gun control comes up, I always think to myself, all right, if they were to propose a bill here, what is the gray area where you can basically address the actual shooting that was the impetus for talking about gun control, and the what's the, and that other side where you're not infringing on, law-abiding citizens who own guns and advocate for the Second Amendment. What's that middle ground? And if the bill doesn't actually address anything to do with the actual shooting, like if say, for example, this particular Uvalde shooter didn't, basically Jay, am I wrong? Am I wrong about like how the Uvalde shooter, while he may have told people that he was going to do some shit, he didn't really have like a record or anything like that? Right.
Correct. I think he didn't have any record. I think there are just people who are concerned about him as he went through the steps and getting a firearm. I mean, but he did not break any laws. He did not have a rap sheet. He did not beat his grandmother or have a domestic abuse sheet against him.
So my question is, what would a red flag law do to prevent the Uvalde shooting? Would it actually do anything?
That's a good question, especially because there was nobody reported the text messages. Nobody, went to anybody.
Like even if they did, they probably have a little bit more of an argument. But like, the fact that nobody even said, hey, called the police and said, hey, I think this guy's going to do something that, really bad, and the police does nothing, then someone would be like, all right, maybe a red flag law would have actually helped here. And like law enforcement is just incompetent. We know that law enforcement is incompetent in general, but specifically in Uvalde, Texas, where we saw incompetence beyond our belief. Maddie Heinrichsen says red flag laws only work if a family member or a friend reports that person. Red flag laws wouldn't have stopped the shooter in Buffalo or in Texas. Mind you, the shooter in Buffalo who killed 10 people, specifically targeting a black supermarket, was charged with hate crimes as of this week by the DOJ. There's just something weird about what's going on. And I don't have a tinfoil hat on me, and maybe this doesn't require a tinfoil hat, Jay. But
just in case, for legal purposes,
just in case, we never know. This obviously just it just seems like a power grab. It's not so much a gun grabbing, even though gun grabbing does lead to a power grab, and the two are basically like synonymous with each other.
They are.
This is basically a way to, if you have guns in the hands of only the state and bad guys, what are you left with, right? You have no means of defending yourself. You have no means of protecting your home, your family, what have you. Possibly being able to intervene in say a really dicey situation. There are basically no acts of recourse. You have to be fully reliant on the state in order for literally anything to be resolved or any justice to be done. I think a lot of people recognize, especially in parts of America that might be a little bit more scarce, I should say. Like, let's just talk about, like, rural. If something happens,
well, not only rural,
and like
also
away
like in the
from
inner cities.
Yeah, I mean, like inner cities and stuff like that. Like, obviously, like
There's
only so much time. There's only so much time you have to react to a situation, and boom, like that's it. Like, you can't rely on the police to like save you. In fact, in many cases, we've all seen how the police responds to even just law-abiding gun owners. I mean, you have Philando Castile in Minnesota,
or fucking parents scared for their children. Like, that's,
dude. You even have not even law-abiding gun owners. You have like Tamir Rice in Cleveland, Ohio, who didn't even have an actual. He had a toy gun. He was shot killed. So, like, do you really trust the state to be sort of like the arbiter on what they believe to be safe and not? In fact, I think I saw a tweet earlier from, I think what's his name, Spike Cohen in particular. This is one of the most wild things I actually never heard of until maybe here it is. I'm gonna share it with you because this is absolutely jarring. So Spike Cohen, who is, I don't know, let's be real, I don't know much about him, but it's okay. So he tweets out how a year ago today, a man named John Hurley was shopping in Arvada, Colorado, when someone started shooting. So Johnny went to the direction of the gunfire and shot the shooter, and then the Arvada police killed him. This is literally the first time I'm ever hearing of John Hurley's name. And I'm going to say that if this man's skin tone was just a little bit darker, there would be people marching in the streets for him.
Oh, absolutely.
Because he doesn't fit the bill of the narrative that police indiscriminately just kill. This man was armed. If we were to like take this tweet at face value and say that John Hurley was trying to neutralize a situation, a dire situation in which someone was firing their gun indiscriminately in the shopping mall at a civilian spot, this is John Hurley will never be able to be thanked by the people that he saved that day because the police fucking killed him.
Right. And I mean, and you see a lot of instances where the police get it wrong. Absolutely. And for us to just sit here and say, yes, take all our rights, give it the power only to the rich and the government, is the way you fall quickly into tyranny and authoritarian businesses. And it's really funny because you have people in like the libs basically on the left side, where they are saying that police are racist. Police go and kill black people indiscriminately. So why the fuck do we want to give them the full power and authority to do that?
It makes zero sense.
Ones who are weaponized. I mean, at least if they had any fucking bearing, or if they were consistent in any way, they will start pushing for things like, how the stupid, like UK have police officers on the street who don't have guns.
Yeah,
they don't have guns either.
Not to mention the fact that even if you take a situation like Uvalde, where, say, for example, well, we can't really run through different scenarios in our head because what happened in Uvalde was obviously terrible, to the point where parents were having to rush into the school to try to save their children. and there are police officers, Uvalde police officers, who are arresting parents who are trying to get into the school to save their kids. And I don't know what justification there is for Uvalde police to not be held liable, but apparently they're not held liable. Rumble Thought to Reality says remember, the police aren't liable for losses in Uvalde. They aren't responsible for just letting him go on for a few hours. So people must be able to stand up for themselves with guns. There's really nothing else to really be said. I mean, you take guns away from people, and then you have nothing else to stop the government from, say, taking away all your rights. Of course, Jay, you and I are of the belief that women shouldn't be allowed the right to vote or drive.
No, absolutely not.
So obviously, like, when we think about this, there's a flip side to that coin. So it'd be like, well, do I really want the government to take our guns away? Well, women might not be allowed to vote anymore, so that might be a good thing. I'm just kidding. Yeah,
that could help. But Sweet
sweeten the deal.
It is. Sweet Designs on Rumble. They going back to the John Hurley story. They actually made a huge deal of that case here in Colorado when it happened, as proof of why good guys with guns don't work. Because you get shot by the fucking police. Holy shit, that is fucking disgusting that the media would try to twist it in that way to say that they don't work because you're going to get shot by the police.